To begin with, let's talk about resilience and anti-fragility. What does it mean? So, resilience, as defined, particularly from Ikigai, the book on Ikigai, they say that it's more than just your ability to persevere. It's really an outlook that you can cultivate to stay focused on what's really important in life rather than what's urgent, helping us avoid being swept away by negative emotions. You know that you're maintaining your resilience if you can continue to lead effectively. And here are some of the qualities of a resilient leader. So, first, you have clarity of direction. So, despite the fact that stuff's happening, right, that you're able to stay the course, you get things done and you still do them well. You have awareness, and this is awareness of not just self, but others and also context. And because you have this awareness, you're able to maintain your well-being and your relationships are 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 positive. So whoever they are, even if they have a different opinion to yours, if you're maintaining your resilience, your awareness allows you to maintain your positive well-being. The third competency is leadership presence. So even though stuff again is happening, um, whether you're face to face with people or online virtually like this, somehow your energy positively impacts others still. You know, you're helping lift other people's games. Despite how you feel or how you felt, you're able to step in the room and positively impact on the people around you. And finally, if you are able to maintain your resilience, your ability to make decisions are not compromised. You still make them and you make them at the right time. So this is what it looks like when despite the stuff happening around you, you're maintaining your resilience. So on anti-fragility. So this was came from a book that I read quite a while ago. So the term was coined by the philosopher and author Nassim Taleb, and he discussed this in the book The Black Swans. I'm not sure if anyone's read that book. Anyway, anti-fragility says goes beyond resilience. So here I was, consultant in resilient leadership, and then I come across this concept of anti-fragility. It's beyond resilience. It's beyond rebound. So what it is, it's about thriving through challenges, not merely enduring them. So Taleb compares anti-fragility to the Hydra from ancient mythology. As legend goes, and you might be familiar with Hercules, especially if you have kids or grandchildren. I'm sure they've seen the movie, the cartoons. So in the Hydra, Hercules despaired when he discovered that when you cut off one of its heads, it meant that two would grow
Mm.
back in its place. And realizing that how will you kill the beast if it got stronger with every wound? So, to describe this kind of resilience, the ability to gain strength from adversity, Taleb he coined the term antifragile. It's not actually in the dictionary. So, it's a unique kind of resilience, the ability to grow stronger through adversity.
So
So,
Isa, I think we
mm,
we can create a new WoW dictionary of all the new terms that's not in the dictionary.
I
Um,
know that
but
may
if
come up.
but if I could, I think this reminds me for me of I think everyone may be familiar with the term post-traumatic syndrome (PTS).
Mm,
And one of the newer terms that I've encountered is post-traumatic growth. And I think that
mm,
was a conversation that came out of the COVID-19 pandemic,
mm,
where there was a lot of people who, yes, there was a traumatic side of it, but there was actually
mm,
growth coming out of it. And so I think it's a very
mm,
similar concept.
mm. Indeed. So, post traumatic growth or anti fragility. So, I want everyone just to take a moment to think about what if the setbacks in your life makes you
Mm,
stronger? What happens when you set the intention of getting stronger as a result of being hurt or a setback. So I just want you to think about something that is hurting you or a massive setback, right? And think of an example. And what would happen if you set the intention? So, what would happen if you set the intention of getting stronger as a result of that? If you were intentional. So, I just want you to take a pause and think about that.
Anissa, maybe as everyone is thinking through it, and I threw in two questions: what if a setback will make you stronger, and how can we position failure as a stepping stone?
Mm, mm,
And I'm reminded that for many of us who've seen little toddlers learning how to walk, I think it's one of those things where we could sort of say, hey, the first time a baby tries to stand up and walk, it fails. And imagine if they just stopped after that first failure. It's so intuitive for all of us to go, of course, like as soon as the baby like falls, you're like, oh, let's try again. We're so encouraging. It's so
mm,
human nature. But when as we get older, as it becomes bigger, as our mind plays into this, where it's like, oh, I'm a failure, or something that I didn't want is happening. Now I spiral and I feel like I can't move beyond it. But just maybe grounding us back to when we were kids or seeing infants.
mm,
I think
mm,
there's a natural aspect of just how do we use that as the stepping stone? We learn.
mm,
Again, as a baby, we take one step and then we take two steps and then we take three steps. But in between, we're failing. We don't call
mm,
it that. But I
mm,
think that's an interesting
mm, mm,
example. What
mm,
do you think?
no, yeah. And there's something about well, children, because we don't have any concept of actually we don't have a concept of failure yet. That's all partly
Mm,
why it's easier when you're young and you don't know that yet. But when the concept of failure sinks in, that's when it becomes difficult. When your head is telling you all these ideas that it's not possible, then that's where the problem starts. So maybe open the floor a bit and just listen to a couple of people. I'd love to hear what you think about this.
Yeah, you really made me think about what you might perceive as strong at a point
Mm,
where
mm.
you think you've failed or you've had a setback, because that might be the point to enable you to think actually what is strong to me. I
mm,
was thinking in a job that
mm,
I held that was kind of a male dominated system, shall we say. Strength was
mm,
about achievement, strength was about not showing vulnerability, strength was
mm,
about, and then when I actually realized that my strength was about being
mm,
authentic,
mm,
Mm,
not necessarily about having a six-figure salary. It was
mm,
more about living in my authenticity and building from there.
mm,
That was actually a stronger position to be in, although externally that might have not been viewed by some as a strong place to
mm,
be. So
mm,
it was interesting to think we need to know what our definition of stronger is to
mm,
recognize it as well,
mm,
because I may not appear. I left a high powered job to do what I do now,
mm,
and and at that point I might not have viewed it as stronger.
mm,
Um, I
mm,
might have viewed it as a deficit, and it's not. I'm actually stronger for
mm,
being that intentional being.
mm. What I like about what you're saying, Julia, is you're picking up reframe. You're reframing.
Yeah.
Yes, you're redefining what strong is or what winning looks like. And
Hmm.
in part, that's how you become anti-fragile. That's how you become, quote unquote, stronger as a result of being hurt because you redefine what winning looks like and
Yeah.
you decide to go that way.
Yeah.
That's why it's better than rebound because rebound is just going back to where you were, right? Even
Hmm.
resilience means it's just going back to where what it was. Anti-fragility means shifting the game and going for something different.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's the real power.
That's the real
But
power.
as I was listening to you, Julia, the reframing, and I sort of jotted down, it makes it sound like it's personalized, that we need to define
Mm,
our own value, and I need
mm,
to figure out how do I define strength. And my reflection is I'm not sure if there's a part of that, right?
mm,
There's a lot of things that I think I was told I need to be productive, I need to have
mm,
achievement, I need to do all this. And it's only through pausing where I go, well, do I believe that? Do I want achievement? Do I want productivity? Do I want to make sure that I'm productive every minute of every day? Um, and so for me, if I could be vulnerable with this group, it's a bit of I need to investigate for the first time if these things that I've held close, is it something that I came up with, or is it something that's been
mm,
conditioned? So
mm,
that's been my journey, Julia. I don't know if that resonates with you at all.
mm, mm,
It really does. I've just done a somatic, the embodied transformation, where they talk about the sites of shaping and going through to think where that lies in us, you know, how much is individual or how much of that is institutionalized or family
Mm,
inherited, and just
mm,
really understanding where those behaviors and attitudes and our own
mm,
sense of self comes
It
from.
just is bringing to mind one of the earlier conversations that Sue and I had. And Sue, you helped me start to discover what strength means for me, like we're
mm,
talking about, because I think I default to a lot of the stereotypical, like have to be direct and rough and harsh, and it's just so not my personality.
mm,
So instead of trying to really force myself into that direction, it was actually this word lightness that came up, and being more confident around, yeah, that is strong when I can lean into my lightness. So it felt counterintuitive from an intellectual standpoint. Um, but then it actually felt more true when I was
mm.
able to step into that. So yeah, I definitely resonate with that, Julia.